excited to have some old friends here. Now, one guy, you guys probably recognize him because we've talked about AcceptCare. We did a beta program. A bunch of people jump on, and honestly, a bunch of you guys have reached out to me and said, "When is AcceptCare going to launch?" Right? You hyped it up. You got a whole bunch of us to sign up, and you literally just like ghosted us and didn't tell us what's going on. Well, I'm back to tell you, we got some updates. And the updates are so big that we had to drag in Kevin Gladstone. He's the man when it comes to strategic partners at OrthoFi. Obviously, we know Oliver Gellis. He's the marketing mastermind over at OrthoFi. And if some of you guys recognize Kevin, you've probably seen him at different conferences, right? But this is so important that Oliver had to pull this man out the road. The Kevin Gladstone Roadshow had to pull him in here because this is super important. Okay, so OrthoFi, you guys are probably wondering, what's OrthoFi? It sounds like an orthodontics company. Well, yeah, you're kind of right. But you know about AcceptCare, you know about Abella, and just like if you guys remember like Voltron or any of those animes, when things come together like that, they create something amazing, and that's what it's all about. So, for those who don't know who these gentlemen are, Oliver, I'll start with you, man. I'll start with you. Just briefly talk about what first of all, what the heck is OrthoFi? How does everything come together? What do you do over there? Your experience, because man, you didn't just wake up in a Holiday Inn and now you're all into dental, right? You've been in this industry for a long time. And then Oliver, after you go, Kevin, of course, Kevin, you have a lot of experience. Talk briefly about what you do and what your experience is, and then we'll just dive into the good news.
Yeah, well, thanks for having us on. So why OrthoFi? So I totally get it. Everyone's thinking, what does ortho have to do with me? And what it does have to do with you is over the last 10 years, we've been in the lab on the ortho side, building what is currently the financial management leader in that space. And what's important about that for the dental industry is that we've perfected a lot of best practices in terms of what it takes to jack and juice patient acquisition, same-day conversion rate. We currently average over 2 times what the orthodontic industry averages in terms of same-day conversion in an industry that already is fairly high. And we manage over $500 million of AR. Currently, we've processed over $5 billion of case production. And so what we're really excited about doing is bringing all of the learnings, all of the reams of data and patient consumer performance that we have to bear to help dentists close elective cases and to help them collect effectively. And with the solutions we have with Abella, which is out and performing extremely well, and with AcceptCare that we couldn't be more excited about, we feel that we have the solutions that are poised to really make a game changer type of difference.
I love it. I mean, again, really excited when I first heard about it. All the people who signed up with the beta group are super excited. And look, guys, I mean, maybe you missed the boat with the beta group and you're thinking, I want to get excited too. Well, hold up. All right, we're going to talk about it. Okay, so like I said, we had to drag in Kevin here because this is such big news, right? Kevin's all over the country. He's always at different events. But so Kevin, strategic accounts. What do you do over with the OrthoFi team, and what's your experience? Share a little bit of your experience. Again, you're not new to the dental space. Share your experience and why you're so excited about these new news.
So actually, my experience in dental goes back almost 20 years now. I was with Dentsply Sirona for about 17 years, most recently in the national account space. So I've seen how dentistry's changed over the last 10 years in terms of group practice and how younger dentists come into the profession now and how we help develop them and support them. And now over the last almost a year, actually a little more than a year now, I joined the OrthoFi team to help support that business on the strategic account side. And really what I do now is I work with our largest customers. to both sell and work with our support team to help kind of manage how we support group practices and the operations side to perfect the way they optimize both the way they start cases and also the way they collect on the work that they've done.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so guys, this is like a live stream that we do all the time. If you have any questions, you can either type it in the comments and I'll read it to our panelists, or you can message me. I know there's a lot of people who are shy. They don't want people to know that you're asking the question. That's fine. Message me. I'm looking. And I've already have a list of questions I want to ask them. So feel free to do that, because again, the more you know, the better you're off. And again, for those who have used Abella, I'm excited. I'm using Abella in my practice. I was very resistant, right? And, Oliver, I want to admit something. I think I've told you this before. I'm one of those guys who are like, I got a bunch of like different software, right? Like I'm tired of it, man. I don't want any more, right? Like there's always something new. And you asked me, it's like, hey, Glenn, you're part of MB2. You guys, a lot of the offices use it. I'm like, whatever, And you're like, come on, just try it. And now it's like, I love it. It makes my job so much easier. It makes my team so much easier. And so I tell everyone this story because you're probably sitting in the same situation. You're probably thinking, look, I already use Compassionate, right? I already use Abella. I was like, I already use everything that Bruce Baer told me to use, right? I already use everything, okay? I'm about to tell you, you need to look at this too. So, okay, with that being said, Oliver, do you want to show some slides or we got some stuff first and then we'll do the slides? How do you want to handle this?
We got a few slides to show on Abella just to see how it works. A lot of people have heard about Abella, and more importantly, a lot of people are hearing about some new text-to-pay solutions that are out there. And what I want to share with everyone before we go into some slides, and Kevin's going to help kind of make sense out of them, the most important, I think, thing that I want people to think about is obviously text as a medium is super important for everyone to engage with. If you're not using text in any form, whether it's Abella or something else, please do yourself a favor and add SMS messaging to your communication strategy. That said, just having text does not necessarily address your AR aging situation in a meaningful way. So it is a better start than not. But what you need is real automation. And that's what we're going to talk about. That's kind of the workflow that we want to show. And so this is where I think the first slide that I think we're pulling up is going to be real helpful. And Kevin's going to kind of lead us through it.
All right. So let me go ahead and get that going for you guys right there. And here we go.
There we go. Glenn, are you okay if I dig into it and just kind of start?
Yeah. And then you let me know. You let me know where when you're ready for the next one there.
Great. We could stay on this one for a little while, but at its most basic level, I think every office can appreciate the challenge of patient AR. The ideal situation would be every patient pays at the time of service and you collect your full fee. Your team does a great job, and you didn't have the challenge of having to go chase down patients after they leave the practice. Unfortunately, we all know the reality is much different. So, I don't think anyone would be surprised to know that a lot of practices are still using traditional methods to kind of collect on their AR, that being paper statements and phone calls. And there's a couple challenges with that. Number one, we're constrained at the practice level by the staff we have. Right, there's just not enough people to go around in the office these days. So many people are doing so many different jobs. The other challenge is that consumers have completely changed the way that they're expecting to be able to communicate with practices. And if we're still using those old methods of AR collection, the results are going to be pretty underwhelming. So why don't we go ahead and dig into kind of how Abella works? To start with, we actually integrate with the practice management software so that we can pull data from your PMS system, right? And what we're looking for there is an open patient balance, but a closed insurance claim. So these are the patients that have been in your office, you've delivered care to them, they've submitted an insurance claim, or if they have insurance, they've submitted that claim is closed, and for whatever reason, they still have a balance with your practice. Once we identify those patients, we send out a text message and an email with a payment link embedded within that communication. That patient receives that message about 5 days after the insurance claim closes. They'll continue to receive that message every 5 days for up to 90 days, or until they make an action, which means they either opt into a payment plan or they pay their balance in full. And there's a couple interesting maybe data points that I should point out here. And this is relevant because, as I mentioned, a lot of patients or a lot of practices are still doing patient AR the traditional way. I think the most important thing I would encourage practices to look at is how quickly Abella actually starts collecting money for the practice. So on average, when we start to pull patient AR data, and we find particularly aging AR first, so we'll work through the aging list first. As soon as it's activated, about 27% of your aging patient AR is collected within the first 7 days. I mean, just imagine how quickly that is for a practice. That's before you could even get a statement out, certainly before it could come back in the form of payment. Patients are paying, right? And practices have to think about that, because the faster you can convert an AR situation, open AR situation, into a closed, cash balance, that benefits the practice, of course. So, that's just an example of the speed at which Abella works, the efficiency that it has, both for the practice and the patient. And we continue to manage that on an ongoing basis for the practice when it's fully automated, right? You don't have to go in and batch anything. You don't have to review the patient data. You can just hit go with Abella, start collecting on your AR, not have to worry about other team members, going through and reviewing anything. It's just a simple solution.
I think what is really exciting about this is, again, for people who are not using Abella and they're like, okay, well, what kind of ROI can I get? I mean, you just said it right there, right? Within the first couple of months, what kind of new client expect in the first couple of months?
So, where we start is really with your aging patient AR. And an interesting data point that we found over kind of our research over the last few months was the average practice has about $50,000 in aging patient AR at any given time, right? And the reason why that's interesting is two things. First is you can pull that data at any time, right? You could pull it 6 months from now or 6 months ago, and it's still $50,000. What that tells you is certainly practices are writing off a portion of that balance on a regular basis, but it also tells you that they're not doing anything different to change their circumstances, right? So they're just assuming that's the way they have to do business. And that's not the case anymore. So what we'll do is we'll go in and we'll look for that aging patient AR first, and we define that as over 90 days. Practices can define it however they want to, but we define it as over 90. And we'll work that aging AR first. And on average, we'll collect about 40% of your aging AR within the first 90 days. So you can imagine what kind of impact that has on a practice. I mean, if the average balance is $50,000 and we're collecting 40% of that in the first 90 days, that's money you thought you were going to have to write off. Right now, that's cash you can collect at the practice and apply it to, I'm sure, a whole host of things within the office.
Kevin, it's kind of like
I'm not great at math. Well, I'm actually not bad at math, but for the average practice, that math, if you're doing it in your head, that's 20,000 more collections in the next 90 days after you turn it on.
And with very little work, by the way, right? Like turn it on and just start collecting money. It's as simple as that. And it's so effective because it's the way that patients expect to be communicated with now. We make it so simple for them to pay that now they're able to do it at the touch of their phone. So it just makes too much sense.
I mean, Oliver, it's almost like digging into some jeans and finding a couple of 20s in your pocket. You didn't know it was there, right? I love it. Let's pull up this next slide here. And again, hey, don't take my word for it, guys, that Abella is something awesome to use, right? Again, Kevin just laid out literally if you just do something different right here, what's the risk here? Well, the reward is, you already know what the reward is, but don't take my word for it, right? Don't take my word for it. There's there's a few pretty decent sized organizations that have used Abella, and we can see some of them right here.
Yeah, and this is just kind of goes to show we've been around the block, and we're trusted by some very large organizations, organizations that recognized that there's a better way to manage patient AR, and Abella has been that solution for them. I mean, these are just a few data points that are meaningful to some of these large group practices, but the same logic applies whether you're a single practice or you're a group of 1,000 practices.
And that again, that's really important to understand because Oliver, I'm sure you hear this all the time. Hey, Oliver, I'm so sorry, but my practice is different. Man, it's different, man. We're either super busy. Oh, we're super busy. Or I have these team members, and they're just on top of things. Like you can't do this. They can't outwork my team, right? And, everyone has that. But again, this goes to show, right, that you guys have worked with everyone, and that's something that we should talk about. Oliver, how many times have you been in a situation, or your team has been in a situation where maybe the doctor's in, but maybe the team members feel like they don't need it, right? So for the team members who are watching, because look, the goal, and again, Oliver and his team had this same conversation with my team. Look, the goal is not, we're not taking anyone's job here, right? In fact, we're not trying to make things more difficult. Really, what you guys are trying to do, how are you trying to, you're trying to help the team. So talk about that. Like, for the team members who are watching, because again, we have a lot of team members in the group, right? They're probably watching like, I don't know about this. Why is it a good idea for them to really embrace this?
Great question. So you're exactly right. This product is not intended to replace an exceptional team. Every practice needs a good AR management group, and they need subject matter expertise. What Abella is there to do is it's a good to great product. It takes a good revenue cycle management team and it makes them exceptional with a lot less of the menial transactional effort, right? With Abella, you're managing, you become the manager versus the clerk. And the cool thing is there's often, it's often that even the best teams in a practice that do this work, some of their tools make it hard to identify all the little slippage, because the ones that the big bills that are left unpaid, the team is likely finding them. Now we're going to be able to take a lot of that work off and allow the patient to pay quickly or via their phone and eliminate the need for the call. And that's great. And it saves the team time. But there's a lot of these small balances that are leftovers from small underpays from insurance carriers that slip through the cracks. And it's hard for the team to even find it in their reporting. And so it's a case where there's lots of little cracks. And so this whole automation and integration with the system allows Abella to go find all the loose couch fishing change that you're missing. Because just think about it. The team's not going to call on, $12, $18, $72. They're going to go, as they should, and try to find where the practice is missing $400 or $500 on a particular case. And they should. But there's a lot of $72 balances that make up that $50,000 that are really hard for the team to go after. And that's why Abella is a perfect complement to an excellent team.
I love that. I love the point that I love how you centered on the point that it's kind of like the under $100, maybe a few $100, like all those little balances that really add up. And I will say this for all the team members watching, be the hero here. Right. And what I mean by that is make a suggestion, right, to the owner docs, right? Make a suggestion like, look, let's give this a shot. Right. And here's the thing. The statistics are the statistics. I mean, Kevin just laid it out. Right. Can you imagine being a part of a reason why your owner doctor collected an extra 50 grand? I don't know about you, but if my team member did that, I'd be super grateful, and I'll be talking about it all the time, right? So again, we'll talk about what's involved, because again, I think we have another slide coming up here. Everyone's always worried, right? Dentists, we're always worried about making that fatal mistake. I hear it all the time, right? Oh, if I buy this equipment and I don't do something with it, that's it. My business is closing down, right? Or if I switch over, I use this thing, the world ends, right? Or with Kevin, I mean, again, you work with Dentsply before. Like if I buy this particular equipment and I don't use it, that's the end of the world. No, it's not. Here's the thing: like most dentists, we're always worried, right? Because we work on basically absolutes, right? Like the case that fails because we didn't do this, or the case goes well because we do this. I understand. I'm a dentist too, right? But here's the thing about most dentists we love, right? We love some guarantees, right? We love to feel safe, right? So, Kevin, talk about this, guys. If you have your phone, grab your phone and scan this QR code. But if you don't worry, we're gonna have the link there. But Kevin, talk about this, and then after you talk about this, Oliver, I don't know if you're behind this, but explain this guarantee, because again, this is something that we normally don't see from companies, right? So you can explain that, but Kevin, talk about this offer here.
So first you mentioned kind of the fear of, oh my gosh, what if I invest in something? And one of the beauties of Abella is that there is no long-term contract, right? It's a month-to-month contract. It's 30-day notice, and there's no long-term commitment. And we do that because we know that the results are there, that the practices are going to be satisfied with what we're able to deliver. So, I want to get that out of the way kind of right off the bat. But in terms of kind of going back one slide, you don't have to go back there, but the reason why we feel so comfortable with kind of this slide that you see here is, being in the market now for 5 years, we have the data. We have the data that shows that we're able to effectively collect on your aging patient AR at a very high rate. And we're willing to put our guarantee behind it. And, if we don't achieve those results in 90 days, you get our services for free for those 90 days. This is a completely no risk offer to your audience. And we'd love to have them scan the QR code there. It'll take them directly to a really cool patient AR calculator that Oliver will talk about here in a second. But like you said earlier, listen to the data. Let the data guide you, and certainly something that we feel very confident in.
All right, so Oliver, I want to give you the follow-up. Is since you're the man behind the marketing team, right? Did you guys lose your mind or something? What happened here? I mean, 90 days, that's unheard of, right? That's unheard of. So again, I'm sure when you presented this to the leadership, I mean, was it a hard sell? Because again, for everyone who's watching right now, you're not going to find, I'm confident you're not going to find anyone that's going to say 90 days, right? You're never going to find that, but you're going to find it here. So that should tell you something. That should tell you something that Oliver's so confident. So again, let's go back to that. Why the confidence here, that 90 days? Because this is unheard of. You know this. You've been in marketing for a long time. This is heard of. Talk about the philosophy of that, and talk about the confidence. So why are you so confident about this?
I'm crazy. No, I'm just, that's the opposite of that. I'm just joking. This is not one of those mattress sales. It is not about that. We are a serious data company. And ultimately, we feel strongly always that we serve our customers, and our job is to deliver results. So we always sell results, and always caution in anything you do. Everyone's going to come and put a list of features or a list of check boxes. And features are great, and you need them to deliver results. But at the end of the day, remember that you're buying results. And if the company or the product that you're being shown, if they're not standing and showing you what the outcome is going to be, then you need to dig a little deeper. But again, that's what we're all about. So that's why, what Kevin said is absolutely true. We feel so strongly. Our fleet collects over 40% of the aging AR within 90 days. And so we're confident that at least 35% we're going to be able to collect in every practice that we get into. And we're so confident about that we wanted to make it risk-free. There is absolutely no risk. If it works, it's going to deliver at least 3.5 times ROI. And if you do the math on how much it's likely to cost for the average practice, it is likely going to be 6 to 7x ROI. So it is about as risk-free as you can get. And what we're proud of is the results. And that's what we're always going to be about as a company.
I mean, Guys, that type of multiple, I mean, I haven't seen those multiples since I talked to MB2, right? So again, I love those rates there. And if you're a practice, maybe you're a practice that has like you're a well-oiled machine, right? You don't think you need it, right? Look, it can always be better, right? There's no risk here, but I will tell you, for the practices that maybe you're having a rough go this year, right? You're struggling a little bit, right? You're struggling getting the collection rate up and all that. This would be something that could really help you turn the corner. So really look at this. And again, 90-day money back guarantee. You're not going to find that anywhere else. Okay, so Kevin, I think you were talking that Oliver, that you had like some calculator. Explain the calculator. How did that work? I think y'all had talked about that. You just go to the site and plug things in. How does that work exactly?
So when you go to this link, the first thing that you're going to do is give us some information, and then we have a calculator so that you can actually calculate the likely return for your practice. So you tell us how much AR you have. You tell us how many locations you have. We're going to run all of the calculus based on our fleet data, and we're going to spit out like the total amount that we believe we're going to be able to collect within 90 days. We're going to tell you on average how that's going to come in by day. And then we're going to calculate for you what the likely ROI picture is going to be.
Awesome. All right, guys. So look, if you're watching right now, we got a good amount of people watching here. Go ahead and scan the QR code. I'll also get the link too. But look, no, there's really no risk here if you look at it. Okay, so I promised a whole bunch of people. I know there's a reason why a whole bunch of people are on here, not just because they want to get a super nifty deal, not because they want to see Oliver and they're hoping to see him in country western wear. Sorry, guys, that was a different time. Okay, but if need be, if enough people sign up, maybe he'll get back in the country western wear. But a lot of you guys are jumping on because you asked me about AcceptCare, and quite frankly, I'm sick of you asking me. And I'm going to have you guys ask this man right here. So, Oliver, give us an update. People missed out. They missed out on the beta plan. And I told them it was going to have a cutoff. I warned them. And now they're like, well, I want to check it out. I want to see what this amazing thing's all about. So, can you give us a status update on the AcceptCare?
Absolutely. So we're really excited. And I apologize to everyone out there that heard this tease that it's going to be out in Q1. We are deep in the lab, and the reason why we have not launched yet is we want to make sure that all of the lending options that our practices see are optimized for their practice. So, does everyone love lenders? I believe everyone does, right? You, Glenn, you love lenders, right?
Only when they say yes.
Nobody does. Part of the mission statement of AcceptCare is to make sure that the practice wins as much or more than the lenders do. And that's what we're doing, is we're making sure to connect to all the right lenders so that when the offers come in, not only are we able to approve 100% of the care that has been recommended, but do it in a way that the patient's going to win and the practice is going to win. And hopefully our lender partners are going to be able to get what they need, but the customer comes first. And so that's the main reason why we're still in the lab. But the cool thing is we have been in a number of practices with AcceptCare, and there are a couple of really cool learnings that we've gotten that are validating the approach. At the end of the day, what I said before is still true, which is that AcceptCare is not a lending product. If you're looking at it as, well, I used to use Care Credit and do their application, and I'm going to do this instead, this might not be the solution for you. This product is about jacking up your case acceptance. And so it's a complete patient flow. And so we're seeing all these cases come through, all these presentations, and we're learning all of the pockets of potential improvement. One of which is we have the automated pending management system. And so the one little nugget that I want to share with everybody from the practices that we're in already is that we have seen that 32% of our accepted cases, and by the way, the average amount that we're seeing accepted is well over $7,000, but the average amount of cases that are being accepted by patients between 7 and 30 days from their initial presentation. Now, most practices, when they present the care, they either get it or the patient leaves and then the team has a hard time following up. Well, that's where our automated pending management is coming in, is that we're staying with the patient over weeks, over 90 days. And so we find that having that automated reminder and giving them that link to be able to get back and be able to look at all their financial options at the click of their phone makes them a lot more willing. And so we've seen 32% of patients accept anywhere from 7 to 30 days after their initial presentation.
All right, so guys, if you felt like you definitely have more FOMO and you feel like you really want it now, just think this: that Oliver's really good at what he does. Okay, but with that being said, I want to ask him, and again, this is this is live, or live streaming. Okay, Oliver, so no takebacks. Okay, but once it comes out, you got to come back and give us the first crack at AcceptCare in this community.
You bet. You bet.
There you go, guys.
And we're really appreciative of the Nifty Thrifty practices that have come on already. We love this group. And so absolutely, we're going to make it worth everyone's while. At the end of the day, we want to transform this space. We believe that case acceptance is far too low. And we believe that there are some very simple process flow things that we can optimize through all of our learnings across over 1 million patients, that we can significantly improve case acceptance. Which makes everyone happy, not just the owner and the doctor, but every case presenter, every treatment planning coordinator. That's what you're doing. That's what your job is. And when you get a yes, everyone knows how satisfied they feel that they're able to connect patients with care. And that's what this is all about.
Awesome. Awesome. So Kevin, before we log off here, you've, again, we started the live stream off by letting everyone know that, like, you're the man on the road, right? You're talking to people face to face at conventions, at meetings, talking about Bella and talking about all the great things to do. Just before we log off, can you share like some success stories that stick out in your mind, that people that you met at a convention and you got them to jump on Bella and you followed up and they're really doing really good? Can you just share? I mean, I'm sure you have many of them. Can you just share for those who are watching? I want them to realize what is possible for them, right? Like these doctors who talked to Kevin, they kind of took a leap of faith and they just went ahead and signed up with Abella, and now they're doing great. Can you share like one story? I know you have plenty, but one story of a success story that sticks out.
Yeah, I think the most surprising thing, and we often talk about, wow, I'm going to collect 40% of my aging AR, right? Wow, I'm going to get $20,000 on average. And that's certainly important. But the comments that I most often get from doctors and team members is, you saved me so much time in having to work through all this patient AR, aging patient AR. You saved me 5 hours a week, 10 hours a week. And like now I can spend more of that time with patients and doing things in the practice that really matter and that I like doing. Like it's less about the money. That's kind of the output, but it's the way that they can now go about their day and support the practice in a different way and engage patients in a different way. That's by far the most common thing that I hear from practices.
Oh, I love it. Well, with that being said, I think that's a good way to conclude this. Guys, look, reach out. Again, it's changed my practice. It's made my team members rock stars. It's actually raised their confidence. They don't have they can actually accomplish something and be proud about coming to me and say, hey, look how much we collected. They don't feel nervous. They don't feel like I'm breathing down their neck. Like, what's going on here? What about all these collections here? Like, we're all humans here, and we also know that it always helps with automation. So thank you guys for jumping on. Guys, reach out for this Abella deal. And I cannot wait. Until AcceptCare comes out. But if you're not using Abella, you need to sign up, because that kind of gives you a preview. I feel like that's kind of like a preview of what you're going to get from AcceptCare. And of course, once you have Abella down in your practice, once you adopt AcceptCare, again, it's kind of like Voltron. They kind of meet together and it works very synergistically. So get the ball rolling, get on Abella. So guys, thank you so much for jumping on. Everyone, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you guys next time.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks.